The Bible does not lower prayer when the body lies down. It exposes something quieter, whether the soul is resting in God or retreating from Him. That is why this question is more tender than it first sounds. Is it okay to pray lying down? Is not always asked by someone looking for an easy excuse. Sometimes it is asked by someone whose body is tired, whose mind will not quiet down, whose chest feels heavy at midnight, or whose illness has made even sitting up feel like a difficult act of worship. And sometimes the question carries shame underneath it. Maybe God is disappointed in me because I cannot even rise to pray. But lying down can mean two very different things. It can be the place where a tired heart finally rests in God. It can also become the place where an honest heart quietly stops answering Him. Scripture gives us a wider and deeper picture. People kneel, they bow, they lift their hands, they fall on their faces. And Psalm 4:4 says, "Ponder in your own hearts on your beds, and be silent." Even the bed can become a place where the soul turns toward God. So the real question is not only whether your body may be low. The deeper question is this: is your heart resting in God or hiding from Him? The first thing we need to remove is the quiet fear that God only receives prayer from certain angles. There are moments when the body cannot perform reverence the way the mind imagines it should. A person lies in bed after a long day, the room dim, the blanket pulled close, the ceiling still and pale above them. Their chest feels heavy. Their eyes burn. They want to pray, but even sitting up feels like a mountain. Then, guilt enters softly and says, "This does not count." But who gave guilt that authority? The Bible does not present God as trapped at the doorway of formal posture. He is not waiting for the spine to be perfectly straight before He hears the ache of a child. The Psalms are full of prayers from places that do not look polished: caves, wilderness, tears, fear, night watches, beds, sick rooms of the soul. Psalm 63:6 says, "When I remember you upon my bed and meditate on you in the watches of the night." That is not laziness. That is devotion meeting God in the place where sleep, weakness, longing, and silence all gather. There is a kind of shame that only tired people understand. Not the shame of rebellion, but the shame of having so little strength that even prayer feels unfinished. You whisper 3 words and wonder if heaven received them. You close your eyes and feel guilty because sleep is already pulling at the edges of your sentence. There is something deeply human about praying there. The bed is where our defenses often fall away. We are not impressive there. We are not leading a meeting, answering messages, managing an image, or proving spiritual strength. We are simply there, breathing, tired, exposed before God. I have had prayers that began with no eloquence at all. There were nights when I kept my eyes half open because I knew if I closed them, I might fall asleep before finishing one sentence. My hand rested on the blanket. My throat felt dry, and the only honest prayer I had was, "Lord, I am still here." Not beautiful, but true. And sometimes that kind of prayer is cleaner than the prayer we perform, while secretly trying to impress ourselves. This does not mean posture is meaningless. It means posture is not God. Lying down can be holy when it becomes surrender. It can be a quiet confession, "Lord, I am not strong tonight, but I am still turning toward you." A whispered prayer under a blanket may carry more surrender than a perfect posture with a guarded heart. A body at rest is not the same as a soul asleep. A person can kneel with a wandering heart and lie down with a surrendered one. God is listening for honesty beneath the posture. And once we understand that the bed is not outside God's reach, we can look more carefully at why the Bible gives us so many different prayer postures in the first place. The Bible does not give us one approved posture for prayer. It gives us a whole language of the body, and the variety itself is the lesson. Picture Solomon before the altar, kneeling with his hands spread toward heaven as the temple fills the story with weight and wonder. His body is low because the moment is high. Then picture Daniel by the window in Babylon. The city around him does not share his worship. The danger is real. Yet he kneels because his body is refusing to let fear become Lord. Then go to Gethsemane. Jesus falls on his face. The ground is cold. The cup is near. His posture does not decorate the prayer. It reveals surrender under crushing weight. David remembers God on his bed in the watches of the night. Solomon kneels in awe. Daniel kneels in faithfulness. Jesus falls down in anguish. Scripture shows many postures because God is not training performers. He is forming truthful worshipers. Posture is a servant of prayer, not its master. A kneeling body can teach the heart humility. Lifted hands can teach dependence. Bowing can remind the soul that God is not casual. Standing can express readiness. Lying down can express weakness, trust, and the childlike truth that even when we are not strong enough to rise, God is still near enough to hear. The danger begins when we turn a biblical posture into a spiritual measuring stick. Someone kneels and quietly despises the person who prays in bed. Someone lies down and calls kneeling legalism because they do not want reverence to ask anything from them. Both can miss the point. The problem is not the posture. The problem is the heart using posture either to boast or to escape. 1 Samuel 16:7 says, "Man looks on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks on the heart." That verse is not an excuse to treat outward things as worthless. It is a warning not to confuse the visible shell with the hidden reality. Imagine two rooms. In one room, a person kneels beautifully, but their mind is full of performance, self-congratulation, and impatience. In another room, a sick person lies under a thin blanket, whispering, "Lord, have mercy," with more truth than they have spoken all day. Which prayer is nearer? Only God sees perfectly. But Scripture keeps teaching us that nearness is not measured by appearance alone. So yes, pray kneeling when kneeling helps you remember who God is. Stand when standing helps you offer yourself. Bow when reverence needs to become physical. Lift your hands when your soul needs to stop pretending it is self-sufficient. And lie down when your body needs rest, but your heart still wants God. The Bible does not give one sacred angle because prayer is not a pose God grades. It is the truthful turning of a person toward Him. But that raises another question. If lying down can be holy, why does it sometimes feel spiritually dangerous? Because rest and retreat can look similar from the outside, while the heart knows the difference. Here is where the answer needs honesty. Yes, it is okay to pray lying down. But not every lying down prayer comes from trust. Sometimes it comes from exhaustion, illness, grief, pregnancy, pain, anxiety, or the simple human need to rest. In those moments, lying down can be tender and faithful. The pillow becomes a small altar. The dark room becomes a chapel without walls. The tired body is not resisting God, it is bringing its weakness to Him. But sometimes lying down is not weakness offered to God. Sometimes it is avoidance. The Bible is not interested in giving us loopholes for a sleepy soul that keeps calling comfort surrender. There are nights when the body is genuinely spent. There are also nights when we say, "I'll pray in bed," because we know we will drift away before telling God the truth. We pull the blanket close, not because we are resting in Him, but because we are hiding from Him. I know that difference in myself. There have been nights when praying lying down was the most honest thing I could do. And there have been nights when I used the same posture to avoid a harder prayer. I did not want to confess. I did not want to listen. I did not want to sit in the silence long enough for conviction to become clear. So I let tiredness become a curtain. I have said, "Lord, I am tired," when the truer sentence was, "Lord, I do not want to talk about this." I pulled the blanket higher, not because my body needed rest, but because my conscience had begun to speak. The room was quiet. The pillow was soft, but underneath the comfort, I was hiding. The body was lying down. So was the will. That is the difference. Jesus warned His disciples in Gethsemane, "Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation." The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak in Matthew 26:41. The scene is painfully human. The disciples are tired. Their eyes are heavy. Jesus does not deny bodily weakness, but He also names the spiritual danger of sleeping when watchfulness is needed. That verse does not mean every tired person is failing. It means there are moments when the body's weakness can become a doorway if the heart stops watching. So ask gently, am I lying down because I am bringing my weakness to God, or because I am trying not to face Him? Is this rest or is this retreat? That question should not crush you. It should clarify you. If you are sick, rest and pray. If you are grieving, lie down and whisper. If your body is worn out, do not turn prayer into punishment. God is not honored by pretending you are stronger than you are. But if you keep falling asleep every time prayer gets honest, if bed has become the place where your spiritual life disappears, if comfort keeps swallowing communion, then perhaps the issue is not whether lying down is allowed. Perhaps the issue is that your prayer needs a different kind of attention. Not because God is harsh, because love deserves presence. And this brings us to a deeper biblical truth. Prayer is not mainly about the position of the body, but the direction of the heart. A person can be physically low and spiritually lifted toward God. A person can also stand tall and be inwardly far away. That is why Scripture keeps pulling us beneath appearance into direction. Prayer is not magic unlocked by arranging the body correctly. It is communion with the living God, and communion has a direction. The heart turns, listens, confesses, trusts, waits, receives, and yields. Lying down does not prevent any of that. In fact, it may reveal some of it. There is a kind of prayer that can only happen when the body has finally stopped trying to control the room. The lights are off. The day has spent itself. The house settles into small sounds, a pipe in the wall, a car passing far away, the faint rustle of fabric when you breathe. You are not performing strength anymore. You are not holding yourself together for anyone. You are simply awake before God. That can be sacred. Psalm 131 gives us one of the most tender images in Scripture. I have calmed and quieted my soul, like a weaned child with its mother. A child resting near the mother is not less reverent because the child is not standing at attention. The child's trust is the posture. That image matters because many of us think reverence must always feel tense. We imagine God only receiving us when we are alert, upright, composed, and disciplined. There is value in discipline. But biblical reverence is not nervous stiffness. It is rightly ordered love. Intimacy with God is not carelessness. Resting before Him is not treating Him casually. A child resting near a good father is not dishonoring Him. The dishonor is not weakness. The dishonor is pretending, performing, or turning away, while the mouth still uses holy words. Sometimes reverence does not look like standing taller. Sometimes it looks like finally stopping the performance. Sometimes that love kneels. Sometimes that love trembles. Sometimes that love rests. A quiet soul is not a careless soul. It is possible to lie down and say, "Father, I am here." No speech polished, no long list, no impressive vocabulary. Just the heart turned toward Him, like a window opened in the dark. I think some of us need to hear this because we have confused intimacy with disrespect. We think coming to God in weakness is somehow less holy than coming to Him in strength. But a child does not dishonor a good father by coming tired. A child dishonors the father by refusing to come at all. At the same time, intimacy with God should not become casual neglect. The Father is near, but He is still holy. He welcomes tired children, not careless hearts pretending that love requires no attention. The heart's direction can turn a bed into a meeting place. But direction must be real. Do not use tenderness to excuse indifference. If you lie down and pray, then pray. Let your first words be true. Put the phone away if it keeps stealing the room. Let the dark become quiet, not crowded. Say one honest sentence before sleep takes you. Lord, search me. Father, hold me. Teach me to trust you tonight. Small prayers can be real prayers when they come from a turned heart. And once prayer becomes less about proving posture and more about returning to God, we can finally ask how to choose a posture wisely in daily life. The best prayer posture is not always the most impressive one. It is the one that helps you become honest before God. Choose the posture that makes you most honest, not most impressive. That may sound simple, but it can change everything. Wisdom asks what the soul needs in order to turn toward God truthfully. If lying down helps you stop performing, lie down and pray honestly. If lying down makes you disappear into avoidance, sit up and let the discomfort tell the truth. If kneeling helps your pride become quiet, kneel. If walking keeps your anxious mind from spiraling, walk with God, sentence by sentence. The question is not, which posture looks most spiritual? The question is, which posture helps me stop lying to God? That question is harder. It will not let you hide behind rules or comfort. It will not let the disciplined person boast, and it will not let the tired person drown in guilt. It brings both people back to the same place, honesty before God. Romans 12:1 tells us to present our bodies as a living sacrifice. That means the body is not irrelevant to prayer. Your knees, hands, eyes, breath, and stillness can all become part of your offering. But sacrifice is not theater, it is surrender. Maybe tonight, honesty means staying on your knees for 5 minutes because you have been rushing past God all week. Maybe it means lying down and praying without shame because your body is carrying more than people know. Maybe it means turning off the screen, placing it across the room, and giving God the final words of the day before sleep takes them. No room is too ordinary to become holy when the heart turns toward God. But no comfort is harmless if it helps the heart stay hidden. So do not worship posture. Let posture serve love. A prayer posture becomes holy when it helps the heart come near. And if it helps the heart come near, do not despise it. But do not make it your hiding place either. Let the body tell the truth with the soul. Tonight, when your head touches the pillow, do not rush to prove anything to God, but do not hide from Him either. If you are lying down because you are weak, tired, sick, grieving, or simply human, then turn your face toward Him and pray. Let the blanket rest over your shoulders. Let the ceiling be still above you. Let the last light in the room become a reminder that God is not offended by the honest weakness of His child. But if you know you have been using comfort to avoid Him, do one small, faithful thing. Sit up for 1 minute. Put the phone away. Speak the sentence you keep avoiding. Let the bed become an altar, not an escape. Let the blanket cover your body, but not your honesty. Then lie back down, not as someone hiding, but as someone who has returned. The pillow is not the problem. The direction of the heart is. So tonight, do not let sleep be the only thing that receives your honesty. Give God one true sentence before the day ends. Not a perfect prayer, not a long prayer. A true one. Write this in the comments. Tonight, my heart turns back to God. Not because your posture proves everything, because even from the lowest place, prayer can still rise. God is not measuring the angle of your body tonight. He is listening for the turning of your heart.